What's up, guys? Your boy Masi again. I've been working on this vehicle for quite a while. Pretty much doing a whole engine swap and transmission as the last one overheated. And as of right now, I pretty much got everything back together. But I was kind of dumb and didn't do the timing belt and water pump while the motor was out. Instead, now I'm doing it while it's pretty much almost fully assembled. But in this scenario, I can show you guys how to pretty much replace the timing belt and water pump while the motor is still in the vehicle and give you more of a real life situation. So this water pump kit is one that I bought on Amazon. It's a Gates branded water pump kit. Water pump and timing belt, sorry. It's gonna come with the timing belt, the water pump itself, and a pretty much a tensioner pulley that puts tension on the belt. And this is kind of nice, but this one actually comes with a little organization tray. It's just like that. It has little pockets so you can put your bolts and stuff. Pretty cool kit. Alright, so I'm pretty much going to start off by removing these two bolts and removing this bolt for this motor mount and taking it out completely. And then I'm going to be able to lift the bottom of the motor up to give me more clearance. And this is pretty much how we're setting up our jack, placing a 2x4 in between the jack and the oil pan. And we're just going to give it a slight lift. And then once we remove the motor mount, we can lift it up even higher. By taking these bolts off first. Lift up the jack just a little bit. We can pull out this bolt. And these are going to be 17mm bolts, all three of them. This one, the welded nut actually broke on the bottom, so had to hold the bottom of it. One nut and two bolts, all 17mm. Now we can just pull off this motor mount. Oh, definitely needs another motor mount. This one's sagging pretty bad. Now we're just gonna take off the wheel. I don't have any of the serpentine belts on, so we're pretty much gonna remove this idler pulley and get that out of the way, and then from there we can pretty much set top dead center and then take off the harmonic balancer. This pulley should have two bolts, but I'm currently missing one of them, so pretty much attaches like that. This bottom one is just loose, so I'm just gonna remove that one. And that's that. Just got the bottom bolt off, and we can set this aside for now. Now we will be taking off the crank bolt. This crank bolt is a 17mm bolt. I'm gonna try to get it off with this 3/8 Milwaukee impact. If I cannot get it off, I'm probably gonna have to use my 1/2 inch. But here we go. All right, back with the 1/2 inch. See if we can get it off now.
Wow, it's very nice.
Now we can pull this off. Just keep in mind that these do have a little metal insert, a little keeper that pretty much aligns on the crankshaft. So do not lose that little piece when you remove one of these harmonic balancers. And then when you do set it onto the crank, just make sure you align this one with pretty much this groove right here. So I'm just going to show you real quick on the old motor that I pulled out. But that keeper is going to line up with that groove. in area. I'm just gonna remove this timing cover. It's all plastic. This one's only held on by a couple bolts. There's one. There's the timing cover. Alright, now we're just gonna set this motor to top dead center. Right here we're lining up these two marks. It's gonna be this one to the line on the front cover. And then for the top cam sprocket, pretty much a position, and then these two lines matching it as close as possible to the where the valve cover sits. So I take out the spark plug, and I'm just gonna put my magnetic tool in there and feel the top of the piston. And then that's me touching the piston, so I'm definitely at top dead center. If I were to move this crank back and forward, you will see me pretty much see the magnetic tool peak and then start going down. As you can see, it's going down, so that's how I know I hit the top dead center. Alright, so right here, just gonna loosen the tensioner bolt. Right here, we're just removing the spring on the tensioner. And if you just saw that, the tensioner just pretty much loosened up. Just like that. And then we can pull this belt off. Yeah. Just like that. Now I'm just going to compare the new belt with the old belt. Same part number, same brand of belt. They're both gates. The old one seems a little stretched out, but it should be perfect. So it looks like this water pump is held in by 3 10mm bolts and the alternator bolt. I already had this one pretty much loose from the motor replacement, so I'm just gonna take this one off. And I think we should be able to get this water pump out of here after that. Now we're just gonna remove this water pump.
One bolt. Second bolt.
I'm just gonna slowly pry this water pump, try to get it to come off. Just like that. This one definitely looks like it's in pretty good condition. I'm not sure if the previous owner that sold me this motor had replaced it, but so I might keep this for extras. And right here, I'm just comparing the old one with the new one, just to make sure that, you know, everything's pretty much the same. And these are pretty much identical. This one might be an OEM pump, Looks like made by GMB, but not sure if that is OEM or not. This one does state Gates right here on the side of it, but yeah, might keep this for a future project. Alright, so I pretty much cleaned the mating surface for the water pump, and now I'm just gonna remove the pulley, tensioner pulley. Just like that. This one is a Gates, so it was probably replaced with that timing belt. I might keep this one as well, as it's probably more than likely good, and then use it for a future project. The only thing that looks like wasn't possibly replaced is the water pump. So it looks like this little hole right here is an alignment for this pin down here. So we're just gonna place that over there, and then this part is where pretty much that spring sits and hold on to. And I'll show you guys a picture of what it looks like after installation. It won't actually install that or torque it down fully until we install that belt. And then for this one, there's 3 different size bolts. I pulled this one off the bottom hole, this one right here, and then these 2 were pretty much at the top 2 holes. These I am going to torque down just so I don't risk the chance of snapping them. The torque spec for the water pump housing bolts is 10 foot-pounds. So I'll torque them to 10 foot-pounds. There's 10. And I'm doing this in a kind of a crisscross pattern since there's only 3 bolts. And then always torque bolts like this, because if you snap them, then you have to extract them from the head or from the block. So now I'm going to be throwing on the belt, the new timing belt. We got the timing belt installed. I'm just going to install the spring now for the tensioner. That's probably easiest with a 90-degree pick, stretching it out, and then releasing your pick. Just like that. So according to this form I'm using for torque specs, the tensioner bolt is 31 foot-pounds. So now I'm just going to torque that down. Alright, so I got this thing timed. That arrow with that mark. And then these 2 marks together. This one and that one. Everything looks tensioned just fine. Good amount of tension, so happy with that. All right, so as of right now, I'm just gonna check timing as far as spinning the crank. About 2 revolutions over, just to make sure there's no there's proper clearance with the valves and the pistons before I reassemble everything back together. And for these motors, the crank actually spins counterclockwise. So you should do this on every vehicle that you do timing on before you start the motor, so you don't deal with any interference with the valves and the piston. Alright, so I spun the crank twice and verified all my timing marks are still in the same, so I'm gonna start reassembly. Alright, so before I install the cover to the front of the crank, I gotta install this spacer, and that's just gonna go on here. And if you look at it, it's actually kind of tapered on one side. So this round edge points out to the vehicle, pointing away from the timing belt, and the flat edge goes on the inside towards the timing belt. So just like that. All right, now we're just gonna install this cover right here. I did clean it up as it was super dirty. If you notice, some of these spots are missing the little metal inserts, like this one. This one has it and this one doesn't. I'm actually gonna use a washer under the bolt, just like that, just so the bolt doesn't pass through the cover. So we'll see if that works. Alright, so now we're gonna be installing the crank. First thing I gotta do is install this little keeper. Just like that. We just install the bolt. I'm just gonna lower the motor just a little bit to get better clearance. To get an impact socket on that bolt. Alright, so now we just got to torque the crank bolt down, and for this one it's going to be 119 foot-pounds is what I read online. Alright, so I'm going to torque down this harmonic balancer bolt. The way I've done in the past to prevent the crank from spinning, I actually took out the #1 spark plug, and I'm going to put in some rope or paracord, and so I had set the vehicle right before top dead center, just slightly. I'm gonna stuff the cylinder #1 with this paracord, and then I'm gonna compress it, and this is gonna prevent the motor from spinning. I've done this before on multiple cars doing timing belts and stuff, and never had an issue with it. I was always able to get this cord out. All right, so I just stuffed cylinder 1 with some paracord. Now I'm gonna turn the crank clockwise to torque it to 119 foot-pounds. She's torqued. I'm just gonna back it off slightly and then pull out the paracord. And from this hand to here is about how much was needed to get that cylinder filled and prevent it from moving to torque the harmonic balancer. But it was super easy to pull out, didn't have an issue, nothing got caught, so it's good to me. All right, so I think from here, last thing I gotta do is install this motor mount, get the motor dropped with the jack, and then I can start installing at least, oh, actually, I gotta do the alternator, and then the belt for the alternator, and that's pretty much it. And then I can get this car started. Right now we're just gonna install the alternator. I just have it swung out of the way right now. So for this one, I could not find the torque specs for it, if I'm being honest. Tried looking online, but I can only find torque specs for certain things. So this one I'm just gonna have to kind of hand tie in and get a feel for it. I did get a brand new belt for the alternator, so I'm just gonna be installing that one. Now we're just gonna set tension on it and then tighten it down. Check the belt tension. That feels pretty good to me. Don't have a gauge on me, but it feels good enough. All right, so make sure alternator's all tightened up, crank is torqued, everything else is torqued up here. Just gotta install the motor mount and then the spark plugs and add some coolant to the system. So now for the spark plug. Now I can finally completely lower this motor. Get the jack out from under it. Just to make sure all of them are tight. Alright, so now I'm gonna do a quick startup. This vehicle has been dead for a bit, so the battery's very low on charge. I'm gonna have to just jump it. Got the cooling system filled. See how she starts. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. Timing belt's all done, and as you saw, there was a really high idle, so there's gonna be a vacuum leak somewhere. I already did a leak test with smoke, and I found there was no leaks for any of the vacuum lines, so I'm guessing it's gonna be one of the valves that are allowing too much air in. But yeah, everything's done and vehicle started. Still gotta do purging of coolant, but want to fix the idle first, because as soon as I started it, the RPMs jumped to about 3,000 RPM and too high, especially being cold. So gonna have to figure that out and see what's next. But I got more work to do on this, so there's gonna be a couple more videos. I gotta do a master cylinder for the brakes, and then the 2 rear brake lines, bleed everything and verify all the brakes work, because as of right now this car does not have any brakes, so I'll be doing that. But sorry for the lack of videos. I had a shoulder injury going off-roading on a dirt bike not too long ago, and was recovering for that, so couldn't make too much videos of me working on cars, so had to take a break. And now I forever have a bone sticking up. I had a grade 3 separation, shoulder separation, so my shoulder, I guess, separated from my collarbone, causing my collarbone to rise, but all good now, so definitely a lot better. So I'll be coming out hopefully with more videos, at least once every 2 weeks, but hopefully, we'll see. Stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. Mousy out.